And again, just listen back. Good to go. So just in case anything's like I need to change again. All right, we're good there. That's the same setting as it was before. And now if I click this, and there you go. So the stream,
Let's see.
and then copy the info box into the description, and then actually click on the stream and get the link so we can tweet it out. Cause you know, man, these Twitter feeds.
So far, sounds good.
Good. All right. Awesome. Nice.
So far, yeah.
That's there's a damn seal again. That seal's coming back. He's been a while. He's been chilling in non-sea world, but hopefully some other water park that's not, hurting animals. Sorry, it's not that kind of podcast. So.
There's a lot of things we're not. That's one of them.
All right. I just tweeted it out, so let's do our due diligence and like and retweet.
Yes, sir. Already did.
Cool.
Already.
I'll just listen back real quick. All right, nice. All right, so we are good to go on that front. My man, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Let me just bring this up. Make sure we got everything. Okay. All right.
We are.
All right. Let's do this. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the DualShock Sense Podcast, episode 23. I am your host / co-host, Macho, the king of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic, coming at you live with this gameplay for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Y'all been waiting for it. I know. I see you in the invisible comments section. I am here joined always by my good friend, my Boricua brother, Walt. How you doing, bro?
Bro, oh yeah, doing good. This is a Boricua episode. Just Boricua's over here.
This is the Boricua episode, that's right. The one and only, the one we've been waiting for.
This time, it wasn't me who stayed up all night at the strip club.
That's right, yeah. Talk about it.
The tables turned, man. Last week, it was rough, as both co-hosts mentioned. Apparently, not even I knew. I was at the strip club until very late and lost all my money, and I couldn't make it to the podcast until the end. It was rough. But this time, and allegedly, just couldn't show up. But I know what's up. I know it's the same place. Jay was there. I saw him.
It's the same place.
Like, hey, man. Soul was like, "Hey, man, I heard he had the Yelp reviews were fantastic." And he showed up, and it's crazy, man. He's not here today.
Yeah, he has his plaque on the wall over there at the same strip club you guys went to.
Yeah, no, he's a customer. He's a regular. He's a customer of the.
Whoa! Wow! What accusations are these? Okay, so he's a regular customer at this place that you ventured, right? And then all of a sudden now he spent all his money. He got a little too crazy, and now he's actually not in the podcast. If you guys would notice, Jay or Soul, as you guys know, the connoisseur of anime waifus, is not in the podcast with us today. Yeah, he had to bow out, man. It's good, as Walt was saying. He is too much partying, too much craziness going last night. So
it's wild, man. You have to do moderation.
Exactly.
Yeah, in moderation.
Exactly.
We're here. Don't worry.
We'll learn if we're telling the truth or not. Find out next week.
Oh yeah, we'll know. We'll find out. He'll let us know.
So, no, on a serious note, guys, it's gonna be a fun show. It's gonna be a fun show. It's just gonna be me and Walt for this one. Since we're gonna be, the old days of what was it, Podcast Beyond with Greg Miller and Con Moriarty, when they'll just drone up just the two of them. I like to say that we're gonna have the same vibe here, man. We're just have a good time. I got my cafe. I got some fruit with me to make sure I'm being nourished throughout this podcast, and. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about a couple of things here that happened throughout the week. It wasn't a crazy week, mind you, but the thing about what happened this week in terms of news is that we just kept learning and progressing about stories from past times, and as well as updates from PS5. But generally, what we're going to be talking about here is the PS5 system update that's been detailed and fleshed out, as well as the new stores expansion details that people have been waiting for quite some time. We're also going to touch on Activision and Blizzard, since Walt wasn't with us in the podcast last week to actually talk about this. We're going to get his thoughts on it, as well as a couple of disgusting and really vile updates that have been surfacing lately with that story, as well as a couple of delay announcements that I'm sure some people will not be very happy to learn about. Regardless, it's going to be a good show, but as always, we're going to start off the podcast with what we've been playing. Now, I've been rambling on for a little bit. Walt, tell us what you've been playing throughout the week, and anything that you plan on diving into, today or whatever.
Well, this last week, similar to the past month, it hasn't been. I haven't gamed as much as I would like to, compared to other months. I mean, responsibilities and all. But in terms of, let me go in order. Returnal.
Talk about it.
I think that is the 6th or 5th biome I'm in. I was in the snow biome, and now I'm in the Abyssal Scar, which is underwater. I think that's the 6th biome, I believe.
Yes, yep.
So right now, and I can officially say that I have had a tough time getting through one of the levels from Returnal. Because up until now, it's been difficult, but it hasn't been borderline impossible. It hasn't been too frustrating. And it's still been frustrating, but not too bad. But up until the Fractured Waste, which is the snow area where you have to go through different doors in order to get certain keys. Up until then, smooth sailing, more or less. But that was... I waited a whole week because I could not keep playing. I was going to get burned out. Luckily, one night I just pushed through, and now I made it to the Abyssal Scar, which... Again, very different. You're underwater. The jumping is way different because there's delay to when you hit the ground because obviously you're floating.
That's what I was talking about before. Just quickly to interrupt you. I was also talking about before where when I told you guys I beat the game. There's this one area where it messes kind of the environment, and you have to kind of that's what I had to get used to. That's what I was talking about. Being underwater, kind of have that very weird and jumpy, floaty kind of feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean it kind of goes along with the enemies are very much a part of that level. It feels like it because it's not the kind of enemy that is made to mess with you because you're floating. It takes advantage of the fact that you're floating, and it is a very different movement. And the enemies are kind of the same way, so the attacks are not necessarily hitting you if you're, dropping to the ground from jumping. It's not it's a type of enemy that is inconvenient for you. It very much belongs to that level, but it's still hard regardless.
Exactly. No, yeah, I feel like the 5th and 6th biomes are really gonna test you, as far as can you actually finish this game?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, I'll finish that, but I need some days in between because it gets to the point where I acknowledge that I am getting very heated and I won't be able to progress because I am getting mad easy. But aside from that, you and I have actually been playing some Dark Souls 3, which
yes, we have.
We never completed, and that has been the majority of the best games that I've been playing all week, which is Dark Souls 3 revisiting my my old character from way back when the game came out even. But it's been fun. I'm excited.
Dude, it's been a blast. It's been a blast.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad that, we can tackle both worlds. So we're just exchanging, summoning signs and keep summoning to each different level. I love the whole experience again. It feels like I'm reliving back when I played it for the first time, even though we are getting to the realm of overpowered. but it's still a lot of fun.
I gotta admit, yeah, because when I was I did, like to go on to that point of Dark Souls 3, I messaged you yesterday, and I was like, I couldn't help myself. I actually beat the game, and it
Yeah.
only took me 2 times to beat the Soul of Cinder.
Yeah, and I can't wait to, because and this is because you did point it out how it's our visiting of both worlds has been kind of like, when we beat the boss in your world, it's more of a, oh yeah, a demonstration of what the boss looks like and the moves more or less. But then when we visit my world, because it's like New Game Plus 5 world, the boss is already doing like its second phase attack in the first few like seconds, so it feels more of a challenge in that sense. Not that, because again, I guess we're just so used to more fast-paced games like Bloodborne, Sekiro, that Dark Souls just doesn't feel as hard, I guess. At least for me, that's the case. It's much more, there's much more thinking space in between, like rolls and attacks and phases.
Hmm.
Whereas Bloodborne and Sekiro, you have to change on the fly. If you're fighting Ishinashina, you have to, oh, he's lightning, you have to jump. Oh, hit with lightning. Oh, he has a spear. You have to dodge. You have to always be moving.
Yeah,
But
like
here
that
it's like,
instinctual stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Here you can chill a bit more. So that's been a lot of fun. And aside from that, so I attempted at joining an auction to actually get my hands on a DS copy of Chrono Trigger
Yes,
because,
yes. Woo! The
and
goat.
I was, I've been wanting to play that game forever. I've never played it. I hear by more people than not that it is probably one of the greatest games ever made, and granted, greatest JRPGs ever made. Um,
I'm in that boat, yeah.
I tried to get it for DS for like $65, which is actually cheap. Believe it or not, that's a cheap
Oh, I believe it.
price for that game,
I believe it.
because the lowest I've seen by you just buying it like instantly, it's like $100. The least $120, and I'm not about to pay that much for a game that I don't even know if I'll like or not. So I
That's fair.
followed your
That's fair.
advice, and you mentioned that it was on PS Vita, and up in this podcast, we're PS Vita lovers. We're all about getting that OLED goodness.
Oh
Unless you're
yeah.
with a Slim, that's also fine. If you have the LCD screen, that's fine. But there's something. It hits different when you play that first edition, the PS Vita 1000 model, and that OLED goodness. Um, so I downloaded that thing on from the PS1 Classic library and started it last night. I didn't get, I didn't get far where like the actual story began, but the music is already proving to me that, oh, this is gonna be interesting.
It
This is
hits
gonna be
different, right? It
fantastic.
hits different.
Oh, that the charm, the epicness, the already just from the opening cinematic, because I believe the anime cinematic is only on the PS1 edition. That's like an exclusive thing on the PS1 edition of Chrono Trigger.
I don't know. I can't
So
confirm or deny. I'm not sure. That's the first I've heard of that. But
yeah, so
hmm.
I try to like see for the pros and cons and differences between the SNES and DS and PS1 edition, and apparently the cutscene is one of the things that the PS1 version came with, and only that version. I could be wrong. If I am, do let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's been Returnal, Dark Souls 3, and most recently Chrono Trigger, and it's just all bangers, all great games. I'm not experimenting with too many games because there's just too many games. It's like anime. I can't watch every single anime because not every single anime is gonna be good. I gotta pick and choose my poisons well.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah. And what about you? What about you? Aside from Dark Souls 3, what have you
Yeah.
been playing?
So like I've been kind of going back and forth on certain games. I said Dark Souls 3. I just want to reiterate like that experience, that like that co-op experience, even if anybody hasn't had that, if you have a friend that likes these games, dabble into it, because actually going into like a co-op adventure with Walt here on Dark Souls 3 and taking on these bosses, as far as like the tougher versions for coming from him, it's sort of kind of like like it feels kind of like tutorial boss sometimes, like how easy breezy we pass through like these bosses sometimes. But other than that, it's just been a ton of fun with that, and I couldn't recommend it more, to be honest. So the other game that I've been playing, that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, Walt, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Ooh, ooh. Tell me about it.
So dibble and dabble into the Great Ace Attorney, man. It's well, for one, I'm a big fan of the Ace Attorney series in general. I've played the first three on Virtual Console and the Wii, and that was like kind of just my introduction to those, and I just blasted through the trilogy. It was just a ton of fun, so much charm. The characters are amazing. The music is just, oh my god. I can't talk in length about how great the music is. It's just no words are good enough for it. And on top of that, it just has a really good story. And with crazy cases where you're playing as a defense lawyer named Phoenix Wright, I'm sure some people have heard of him that are in gaming. And
Very niche character.
yeah, he's a niche character, but he has his assistant Maya, who's also a medium, and they just kind of go through all these cases and really just uncover the uncoverable. You know, break through the barrier of the impossible with trying to either prove the innocence of certain individuals that were like targeted as a crime, or where the case may be. So it's a ton of fun. It's a great visual novel. But the thing with the Great Ace Attorney is that you're playing as Phoenix Wright's descendant, who is his name.
So it's in the future?
No, it's in the past.
Oh.
So is it ascendant, descendant?
Could be an
I'm sorry.
It's an ancestor.
Ancestor, right? That's what I'm thinking of. I was like, descendant's not the word. It's ancestor.
That's in the future. That sounds cool. Still, I mean, both ends sound great. The game sounds, because I have heard like just the OST here and there on different streams, and so far I have played only one of the Phoenix Wright games, which was Duel's Destinies on the DS, and I hear a lot of people that's one of the good ones, because there are surprisingly some bad Phoenix Wright games.
There were like, I wouldn't say bad, really, just more just like okay. Like the series has
nothing special.
Yeah, the series has a very great reputation for just kind of going above and beyond with its cases. And some of them, like, they bridge on the border of being too ridiculous. Like on an original stance, like they are like ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh, like this case has so many depths and layers to it. But there's some of them that are just a little too much.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, with this one, it's granted with today's awareness of games and technology, some niche games will stop being niche and reach a broader audience. But with this one, I've seen a lot of love come its way.
Yeah,
rightfully
yeah.
so, I guess.
Yeah, so like I said, instead of, you're not playing as a descendant of Phoenix, you're playing as an ancestor. I knew I was gonna get that word wrong in my head. Yeah, so you're playing as Phoenix Wright's ancestor, Ryonosuke, I think his name is.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryonosuke Naruhodo. So he's like an up-and-comer defense lawyer student, or just like a law student who's just kind of breaking his way into the world now. So I finished the first episode just this morning, and I can't just rave about this game more, man. It just oozes the charm and just the feeling of a great Ace Attorney game with amazing characters I'm already getting attached to. The music is just out of this world, and I'm really enjoying kind of like the 19th century into the 20th century spin on it, where science and technology is not really advanced. So, but they still have like these crazy conundrums and like how they go about in solving the case and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And would you say this is both a good entry for newcomers and for veterans of the series?
100%, yeah. The thing about the Greatest Attorney Chronicles is that it has a lot of convenient features that probably the past games didn't have. But if you get into actually the Ace Attorney trilogy, that's also on Switch and PS4 and Xbox, I believe, and even on PC, I think. I think it might be on Xbox. I'm not sure. But either way, they come with convenient features like as far as like letting text like auto itself. So instead of just pressing the button the entire time, it just keeps going. But this one is great too, just for the fact that like it has like a fresh coat of paint, being with 3D models. Before it was like regular 2D stuff that looked just as gorgeous. But in this game, everything's super sharp and crisp looking. Environments look fantastic. So if you like I would say visual novels that also have a lot of player interactivity in terms of puzzle solving and kind of figuring out cases and stuff like that. A lot like Danganronpa, I would say.
Essentially, yeah. I would. I haven't. And here's the thing. That's a perfect comparison because, and I haven't even played Danganronpa properly. I've played a demo and I've seen a lot of gameplay of it, and it's essentially, yeah, it's a visual novel in its core, but it does have a certain level of interaction. You know, it's more or less like how Doki Doki Literature Club has some interaction, but it's still a visual novel through and through.
Right, yeah. So this one, Greatest Attorney, is a little more, I would say, a little more interactive. So you are doing a lot more thinking. You're doing a lot more of just you're still being a passive player because you're watching the story unfold, but you're also figuring it out as in piecing together all like the clues that you need to figure out to solve the case.
Are you able to fail?
Oh yeah, yeah. You
Or
like they give you
okay.
like 5 different tries to like make a mistake, and then they'll say like, oh, that's you need to do better, defense lawyer, or whatever the case may be. Like that's not the correct answer, and then you have to rethink your initial choice. So yeah, so they give you some room to breathe here and there, but overall, I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's a great entry for new players that want to get into the series, as you mentioned, Walt. And as a longtime fan, I'm extremely satisfied. I can't wait to play the rest. It comes with 2 games, so that's a total of 10 cases, 10 like different episodes and chapters. When this kind
Oh,
of
for some reason, my head went elsewhere. When you said 10 cases, I'm like 10 like Switch cases, like
no
10
no
cartridges. I'm
no
like,
no
wait a minute,
no
one per
that'll
case.
be the ultimate collector's edition.
That would be. Golly.
No, but yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
but it's good. It's really good. And also there's a nice little character called Sherlock Holmes. It might sound familiar to some
Wow.
of you.
Really?
Yeah,
Never heard of that. Tell me about him.
well, I haven't been introduced to him yet, but the whole like conundrum around like the basically the letter switching is basically because of like I think Herlock Sholmes, right? No, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
See, even
I've
I got
heard,
switched
but
on
I've
it.
heard, but I've heard Herlock Sholmes. Like I didn't know that was like a thing.
Yeah, no, so Sherlock Holmes, right, is the actual like 19th
Yeah.
century detective, that you read about in some books. Apparently there's like some rights issues when it comes to like using his name. So what the localization team did for the Great Attorney localization team, they just basically switched around the letters. So you're actually interacting with Herlock Sholmes instead of Sherlock Holmes.
My God, that reminds me of like there's an episode of Family Guy that does have like do a bit on that on like copyright and they even like I don't remember the exact terms they use, but they even like hint at like French fries and they call them a different thing, and Quagmire's like, oh come on, no one even owns that because it's so ridiculous
Oh yeah,
how
yeah.
how much you have to change and like even mentioning, but I get it, it's properties, it's legalese, and that's a whole thing
Right,
is its own
yeah.
thing.
It's just one of those things that's really funny that it's so
It is.
ridiculous to the point where you're just like you have to give him a pass on it, even if it is a little cheesy. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And yeah,
Okay,
other
is that
than
all you've been playing?
I mean, other than that, it's just been Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I got to chapter 13 on my third playthrough, just getting 100% completion, and then I'll redo the intermission DLC with Yuffie, and then on besides that, it's Final Fantasy 14 stuff. So just trying to grind for those sweet relic weapons, and you know make my Stella character even better. with all the nice
Yeah,
crystal
man.
weapons. So
Stella is breaking barriers in all games because even in Dark Souls,
exactly.
she using that big axe. Man, she can do many things. She's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, so as I was saying, man, once I started Dark Souls 3, I was I knew for a fact that I wanted to go through like a super strong build,
Uh-huh.
and having like a giant axe just kind of complemented all that, so I had to do it.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, man.
but yeah. So, is that all you've been playing? Well, just Dark Souls 3 and Chrono Trigger, starting it.
Yeah, and started Chrono Trigger, and I believe that'll be aside from more Dark Souls 3 because you got me in the groove again. I mean, we still got some bosses to kill.
Yeah, that's on the plan. That's on the docket for today, man. We'll hit up the DLC.
And hopefully if man I'm hoping we get like news on it if it even is a thing on like a Bloodborne like remaster or whatever, but
Yeah, man. I'm waiting.
I
I'm waiting.
I need you to tackle those old hunters. You'll see, man, you're gonna experience true pain with that shit. That's tough. That's the tough stuff.
I know, but man, like I said, I really want to wait for
I
that
feel you though.
update because
'Cause
man, playing Bloodborne at 30 frames, it's not horrible. 'Cause I booted up, but like
it's
man, it's
tough.
like, yeah, it's tough to go back to like how sluggish and slow it is.
It's more difficult. I mean, we were talking about that as we were playing Dark Souls on how 60 FPS is essentially making the game much easier
It is, yeah,
in
yeah,
a
no,
way.
it's a fact, it's a fact.
It's just,
I was actually
and
able to beat Jedi Fallen Order on the hardest difficulty on PC at the high frames versus playing it on PS4 and like 30 frames, and yeah, I struggled through some bosses on PS4, but on PC I breezed through them.
yeah, man, there you go. Like I can't I can't imagine how easy or maybe even more difficult Bloodborne might be with 60 FPS because the game is already a fast-paced game. So going 60 FPS, that has to be insane. That has to
Yeah.
be like a returnal level quickness, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you know that's what some people were saying too. Like, there's certain games that like they're made with their physics are made with 30 FPS in mind, or even 60 FPS.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
so putting
true,
something like
true.
Kingdom Hearts, right, where like you can play it at 60 FPS, no problem, right? But like if you bump that up to
Right.
120 frames, you're talking about double the frames, and that might make things a little crazier, considering how fast-paced that game can
Yeah.
get, you know? So it's the same thing with Dark Souls, or at least from software games, because even on PC, they're all locked at 60, unless you get a FPS unlocker.
No, that makes sense. And when it comes to when you say you want to wait, is it more of the fact that you don't want? Do you have it or do you not own it, and you're waiting to then like not buy it now?
Oh no, I have it. Yeah, I have Bloodborne digitally, so it's with me forever.
Gotcha. It's more of the matter of like tackling at 30. It's kind of tough. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, even when I booted it up, yeah, like, and I was playing it, it wasn't like as bad as I thought. But even then, like if there's even a slight chance, which there possibly is, because it is one of their best exclusives, right? It's one of PlayStation's best exclusives, I argue. And
Oh,
I have
absolutely.
to imagine that they're working on a patch for it, or at least something soon. Because if Last of Us got one, I can hope that Bloodborne got one, or is getting one.
It's difficult. It's kind of difficult to not imagine it having one and there being one like at some point maybe this year or like even next year or at some point. Like it's hard to not imagine it because it's still one of the more successful ones even now. Like people keep trying and keep on Twitch. I every time I do see at least one person like every few days like or every few weeks like start Bloodborne like from the beginning and they never played it, you know.
Right?
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I hopefully we'll get that rumored remaster or whatever they decide to do if you know give
Yeah.
it a 60 FPS treatment.
There's a new rumor every week, but for some reason this week there was no rumor on it.
Yeah, people are silent. I mean, there's some more. unfortunately disgusting matters happening, which I guess a lot of rumors are gonna like. A lot of people are not gonna like focus on rumors because of what's happening. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll eventually talk about that. First, let's do the PlayStation due diligence. We're actually going to talk about the PS5 system software update, or at least the beta that went out for a couple of people. Now, did you
Absolutely.
actually read up on some of like the features that are coming with this new update?
I mean, the main thing being how it adds the what was it, the M2 SSD support. I saw how it is essentially a beta firmware. I didn't read too much into the specifics because first, first it was when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh snap, there's an update, and you before you send the images, you're like, all right, buds, uh, there's a barrage of images coming, and it just went bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh my god, what are these notes? What are
Yeah,
these patch
yeah.
notes?
Yeah, it was it
But
was it was legit a video that I kind of grabbed that from. I saw like all the patch notes for this new system update, and it's pretty lengthy. So we'll go through some of it, but not the entire thing, because the rest of it is kind of stuff that I guess you could find out in the actual patch notes that comes with your PS5. So to list them off real quick, yeah, the headliner is that the PS5 is finally getting the SSD expansion that some people have been, not some, I guess a lot of people have been asking for, really just to kind of expand like the internal storage or to have like another place to put their PS5 games.
understandable.
So with this one, with the new SSD slot is from what I'm reading, the format is the PCIe Gen 4, it's X4, I guess M2 NVMe SSD slot, not slot like SSD, expansion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that comes with a range of different sizes. So you can go from anywhere from like 250 gigabytes, which is well, the ones on the low end, to something like 4 terabytes and possibly even more, as technology comes out. But as you probably have seen, Walt, and a lot of people are attesting to, were kind of, surprisingly surprised about that these things are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, not only is it adding to an already like quote unquote revolutionary SSD, because the PlayStation has a proprietary like quite expensive hardware. I understand why the higher the storage space, the more expensive. I mean, you've seen how the Xbox has the little storage slots, the little upgrades you can do that are like inches of width and length, and they're like $100-$200, and it's maybe like 1 or 2 terabytes. It's mega expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
we are talking about SSDs though. That's the thing. Like, this is like
but
a
yeah,
bump
but it
in
makes more
technology.
sense. It makes more sense why it's expensive because of an SSD. In that case, it was just and the Xbox side, that's more of a external situation. In this case, you're actually like inserting like a piece of technology,
Right.
a piece of hardware,
Right, so
and it's
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was the other point of contention some people had, where you actually had to open up your PS5 and really put it
yep,
into the slot. And of course,
yep.
one of the worries about this is like, well, will it actually fit? Is it compatible? Well, thankfully, if you're on Twitterverse or even on regular social like gaming media sites, they actually will list out some compatible drives that you could put with your PS5. One of the things that is also really recommended, and I would say, a necessity at that point, is to have a heatsink with your SSD. Some are sold without the heatsink, but for what I was looking at online, some threads I was looking up on Twitter, a lot of them do come with heatsinks. So that's the extra added cost of, with your SSD. But at this point, Sony is literally saying have an SSD with a heatsink because it's gonna get hot in that PS5.
I mean, yeah. Not only. will it get hot? We're still in the starting phases of this console. There's still things that could go wrong, and there's still we don't know the length or the extent of how long it'll take for this console to like actually for you to feel the heat after X or Y amount of uses. So it makes sense that for not only is it something you can install, you're doing it yourself. It's not. I don't think unless they thought about it before their update. I assume that people would be installing SSDs in the future to their own PS5s. In my case, I feel like I'll have to look for someone that like actually tinkers with consoles because I am. In my case, I feel a bit too worried that I'll mess it up and especially because it's still a bit difficult to find a PS5.
Right.
It's still, it's still a thing that's not as easy as some people make it out to be. I got my PS5 out of pure luck one night, so it's a matter of extreme caution and if you it's expensive, so you're even more nervous because what if you mess it up? That's like how many $200-300 that you just or 400.
More.
I saw
Yeah,
one
or more.
Yeah, I saw the one that you had sent. That one was like 400, almost $500.
Right.
But it was a 2 terabyte, so I can't imagine a 4 terabyte, which is I assume almost in the 600-700s, almost double, or I mean almost like at least a third more than what the PS5 already cost.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Which is
that,
insane.
I know that's I know that's the other thing too. Like that price is really insane. But again, it's warranted just because of like the actual technology. I'm sure like these prices will go down too if you are, but if you really hurting for extra like storage, and you don't want to spend too much on the bank, I feel like the good like opposition to that is just to delete the games you're not playing. You know what I mean? I feel like I feel that's a good option to go with. Which my thing, what I do, and I think a lot of people can probably take from this too, is that if you're not looking to break the bank but you want extra storage, right? Including like having your PS4 games, buy an HDD. I have a 2 terabyte one, I believe, that I bought a while ago for school. And what I do is I put my PS4 games on that, and I have it set so whenever I do play a PS4 game, the PS4 games themselves will just automatically go on the external drive. And when I'm not playing my PS5 games, I just move over the PS5 games to that external drive. And when I want to play them again, move them back over.
Gotcha.
So right now, my PS5, I have like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have Dark Souls, not Dark Souls 3. I have a couple of other games, like no, not The Last of Us. I just have a couple PS5 games on there, but I have like over 300 gigabytes of space.
Gotcha. I mean, I do need that. I don't have all of my games. It's not like I'm playing a lot of games in the last month or so. But I do need to get my hands on a 2 terabyte, at least 2 terabyte external drive, because I got so used to my PS4's the one I had installed, which was a 2 terabyte one. So I had so many games that I wasn't even playing. But this time I feel like I have to be more frugal with what I'm installing, and not have 30 games installed and playing only 3 of them interchangingly.
Yeah, yeah. So for someone like you, this would kind of be like more like up your alley to get like an SSD or maybe something a little cheaper in the end, or like getting an HDD and putting all your games on there.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm gonna wait until to see how this SSD thing goes on, because it's happened so many times where it's compatible, it supports this, but then you see this, you start seeing like, oh wait, the first wave of SSDs actually are malfunctioning, or oh, it's corrupting your data, or
That's a
like
good point.
we've had not only SSDs, we've had just technology in general that once they roll out, it's like usually you're not encouraged to get the first wave, just because that's usually the ones that are either defective or they're, not what was promised, or it harms your console or whatever it is. In my case, I'm gonna wait because that's a lot of money. And second, I do think I see myself more going into the SSD route because it's less stuff I have to worry about moving. I like it when it's everything. It's in my console. Everything I need to worry about is in my console. I don't have to work with any outside aspect. In this case, an external drive. If that's what I go with, then great. But if I'm going SSD, I'm going the best one that's available to me. But
yeah, that makes sense.
To happen, I need to save money because it's a big my bank's gonna be on a diet when that happens.
I know your wall's gonna be super skinny after that one.
But, yeah, no, my account's gonna be super skinny. But if I go SSD, I'm going with the best alternative there is, and that's because lately a lot of games, at least AAA games, they're really beefy after the first few weeks because of so many updates it gets.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, it's 90, 101 gigs or something.
I think it's I think it's around, it's 70 or something like that, but it's still big.
It's massive. I mean, that's it's not Call of Duty, and I don't have Call of Duty for many reasons. One of them being it takes a third of my PlayStation storage.
Yeah,
What, 200 gigs, 300 gigs?
But I think that's actually one of the benefits of PS5 2's Kraken technology, where it actually reduces the size of games. So I found that actually really really beneficial to when you're actually downloading these games, because I know Returnal is pretty beefy. Demon Souls I think was 50 or something like that, 50 or 60. I don't know, something like that. I can
tell you right now, it is. Right now, I'm using a disc, so it's 33 gigs.
Oh, Demon Souls?
Yeah, Demon Souls right now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
By the way, I need to. When we're talking about games,
that's a beautiful game too, man.
A gorgeous game. I started playing it again after a few weeks because I was playing, other Returnal, and I didn't want to play two hard games at the same time. I started playing Demon Souls the other day again, and I got through the first section of the Tower of Elatra, and I beat the doll, whatever the hell the name was. It was the woman with four arms.
I don't know, man. I dropped that game. I'm not going back to it.
Yeah. I can see, and here's the thing. When you talked about that game, in my mind I was like, damn, now I'm kind of nervous to get back. What if I hate it after playing Dark Souls 3? I got back to it and it's not that bad, but I get it. I get it.
No, yeah, it's definitely a me problem. That's why.
No, but I see what you mean. Even the rolling feels heavy because you're literally rolling on the floor. Where it's Dark Souls, you're doing a leap forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very different, but in terms of this DSSD, honestly, I'll wait until a few months because that's a lot of money. Again, that's a lot of dough to drop in at once, and we just barely got the beta firmware, so it's not even an official patch. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So nothing's really official yet as far as what you can really. I mean, people are suggesting all these different things, which is nice because you have a base to go off of. But other than that, it's still a little. It feels a little early in the can, So
absolutely, they're still testing the waters.
Right. So with this SSD expansion, one more question before we go into the actual what's in the system update itself. There is quite a bit of stuff.
Yes.
There's been some debate on the Twitterverse, whether actually it does seem like this SSD news expansion, it seems a little bit of a fumbling. There's definitely some research required to go through this, and whether or not people picking up a PS5 would actually be expanding their storage, considering they have to open up the console and make sure it's the right one, and that needs to have a heat sink and all that stuff. Do you think that this is probably the right move for Sony when they decided to actually design this console? Do you think this was convenience? Do you think this was just an overall beneficial to the consumer on actually getting more out of your console storage with this process?
Honestly, is it convenient? No. Well, first of all, convenient is you being able. Convenience was the PS4 where you could just take out the latch from the back, put one in, that's it. That's
Right.
all you needed to do.
Right.
Now you have extra research. Now you have, and here's the thing. I'm not against it. I'm not against doing the research. I'm not against doing your due diligence in terms of getting informed and doing the process.
Right.
To
It's
the
it's
T.
also on the consumer in that sense, right?
Correct. There's a lot on the consumer this time around. And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's not convenient. From the beginning of the PS5 and last year, there's a lot of things that are compared, and yes, we're gonna compare because that's the competition compared to the Series Series S and Series X. The convenience, it lies more on Microsoft side than it does on PS5 side.
Right.
PlayStation, excellent, and the SSD, excellent. It's quick, excellent. Exclusives, excellent.
Yeah.
The hardware, it's a fantastic piece of technology. But even with save data, you have to, some games upload it on the PS4 and download it on the PS5. Some games you have to download them from the cloud. There's no, I forgot the name of the feature, but the Xbox thing where you, if you're playing on Xbox One, you can automatically continue where you left off on the Xbox Series X. That's convenient. Smart delivery or whatever it was.
Right.
And this with the SSD thing, considering just the fact that you have to open your console.
It's gonna freak some people out, yeah.
Absolutely, and in and of itself, you need. You mentioned it in the video game industry side of things, and the media side of things, journalists and all this. They're explaining how to do it.
Yeah, there's video samples of how to do this stuff too, yeah.
And people, they have to keep up with the times of how you essentially you can do almost anything just with a YouTube video. But reality is, at least from my time working at GameStop, there's people that have zero clue how to work a console, and there's a lot. Trust me, there were more people that didn't know, didn't have any idea of how to even open the top compartment of the first PlayStation 4 to remove the external drive.
Well, to be fair on people like that though, I don't think they're actually looking to get like an expansion. You know what I mean? Right. I don't feel like you're I don't know, like I don't want to belittle like 12 or 13-year-old gamers because they're smart in their own right. They probably know how to hack like a PSP or something like that, right? But like I really don't feel like if you're gonna like they're gonna be looking to buy like a $200 expansion card. You know what I mean? So for them, it's probably just like out of the realm.
Right. And for me, it's more of the fact that the people that I got that were unaware of how these consoles work were very much parents. People that maybe they don't have time to like figure out all the kinks of how to install, whether that be a hard drive or an SSD. They're busy in their own right. And again, we're still in the transition phase of where technology like got big in the last like 20 years, like really, really advanced in the last 20 years. There's still people that they're not too familiar with consoles, at least now. And what PlayStation is doing with the SSD, this very much is, I think, gonna be new territory for a lot of people. Because just until now, I'm willing to bet that a lot of PlayStation owners, PlayStation 5 owners, and PlayStation 4 owners, they never have had to tinker or like even consider the fact of installing an SSD in their system.
Right.
They've only had the external drive. And again, they have the option of the external drive. But once they hear how the benefits of an SSD, the idea of you not having to have any extra equipment and it being as fast as it is and as powerful as it is.
And
But then
it being inside your console too at the same time. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. You don't have to worry about that, that outside element. It's gonna sound fantastic, but then when they hear the process, I don't think people are that ignorant. I do think that people are smart enough to figure out how to, at least if they don't know how to install it, call someone that does, or go to, I don't know, Ubreak, iFix, I don't know, someone that just tinkers with that. But
yeah,
convenient? No.
Yeah, no, I
It's not
agree with you.
convenient.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's an issue that's going to keep evolving as we learn more details about it. But as far as the actual process of it, yeah, it's not super favorable, and I can see why people will be kind of turned off by it. At the same time, I feel like it's necessary. At the same time,
Oh, absolutely.
it's not something
Absolutely.
that's absolutely necessary if you don't want to spend the money or you don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. I'm kind of in that realm where like I wouldn't really go on my way to spend money on extra storage if it was gonna break the bank. I can live with deleting some games and just reinstalling them. But yeah,
I think
my avenue for that is just get an HDD, get something cheaper, and then
absolutely.
have it as an expanded external storage. While it is something outside of your console, for me personally, I haven't really been having any issues with that.
Oh, for
So.
sure. And I wouldn't either, And I'm thinking more of the fact that this is like any technology. The more convenient something sounds, the more people will want it. Because this is, again, we're in the beginning phases of it. For a console, this is like the first time, at least for Sony, this is the first time that you're even consider installing extra SSD storage where it's to this level. But I do think that we'll get to a point where, I mean, even now with PCs, it's more convenient to have like a more powerful SSD than it is a larger HDD. But again, the HDD
Absolutely.
is more for storage and not so much for power.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
That's why I put my games on my PC. If it's an open world game or any game that I know that's gonna have that's really detailed and needs long load times, I'm putting that SSD. That makes a world of a difference.
Absolutely.
Witcher 3 loads up
Absolutely.
like that, especially with all like the HD
Yeah.
texture packs and stuff like that, or even the Assassin's Creed game Syndicate Origins loads up within less than 10 seconds because of the SSD.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're gonna get there with the PS5 to the point where it will be a much better alternative in terms of quality. Therefore, Sony's gonna, I assume this would be like their best move in terms of how to make it the more convenient. Make it where, I don't know how hard it is with this current model of the PS5, but if their next model, I assume it would be better for them to make it much easier for you to open it, put a new SSD, and close it.
Yeah.
It really is about learning about what this model can do and how people synergize with it, that they'll take away to make the next one. And is it good for the consumer? Oh, absolutely. More alternatives, the better. They're not making you buy it. If people complain, you have HDD as an option. You already have options. If you want, you have other consoles. There's a PC. There's options to gaming. This is just another alternative that I don't think complaining about it is the most logical thing because it doesn't make much sense. I get if they want to fight the price and be like, oh, like question it. Then inform yourself and then you find out why it's so expensive.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just an ever long debate of having proprietary technology versus having something in your console that you need to actually do a little more research on to open. Again, I feel like
Absolutely.
it's a matter of what you prefer. But enough on the expansion. We kind of exhausted that topic. Again, that was the headliner. So I'm glad we actually delved into that. But the other
Yeah.
actually update features I come across here that I'm actually going to read off here. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. It's just I have a couple of paragraphs here. But what also comes with this system update is on top of the SSD expansion options, you also get to track your trophies. So you're actually able to pin up to 5 trophies per game to easily track while you're playing it, so that if in case you're only going on a collectathon, you can just see them right then and there, which is nice and convenient. The other thing is
Saucy.
the other thing too that actually has been bugging me since the PS5 launch, and they're actually going to implement it in this update. Well, is that they're finally going to make trophies vertical instead of horizontal for the layout, which is something that's been bugging me forever. That horizontal layout, it's I don't like it. Like you get blurred out of or at least you get cut off of explanations easy. It's big and it's like I don't really like it that much. But the vertical look to it looks a lot better.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. So, someone that I am a trophy hunter for
Same,
many of the games that I do enjoy. So both of those features, hell yeah, bring them on.
Yeah. So on top of the trophy list kind of being updated, we also get to be able to have 3D audio through your TV speakers, which is fantastic. 3D audio is one of those not revolutionary, I guess, console features, but one of the things that just makes gaming better. So having that go through your TV speakers instead of through your headphones is it's just another way to get you immersed in your games, which is amazing. Additional 3D audio settings have been added for players to fine-tune. It also allows players to use a DualSense microphone to measure room acoustics and adjust the settings accordingly. So again, more quality of life features to enhance your gameplay experience. Multiple home screen options have changed as well, so you can so they clearly label which games are PS4 or PS5 versions and separating out versions of games in the game library. So what I'm guessing this means that instead of actually having the icon where you have the PS4 and PS5 games, so say you have the Marvel's Avengers, and it will say whether it's a PS4 game, it will actually label it, and then if it's a PS5 game, it will just not say anything. What I think this means, right, by having separating out the versions, that you'll have Marvel's Avengers PS5 and Marvel's Avengers PS4, 2 different icons. I'm guessing. That's what it sounds like from the description I'm reading. I haven't actually seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's quality of life things, and it's very. If they can subtract seconds to the experience of needless things that you need to do, or of even looking at something, that's always fantastic.
Yeah, it's having double icons that kind of throws me off. But the thing is, if you have the PS5 version, more or less, you're not even going to play the PS4 version. So just delete that icon.
No, for sure. I mean, I don't. I assume. I'm gonna assume some people have a PS5 and they don't even own PS5 games. That sounds weird, but that sounds so possible because PS5 games, they can be quite expensive. So I guess I can see why someone would only have PS4 games. But I don't know. That's going to benefit someone, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. So one of the other things that they actually have as well as coming into it is that you get to customize the control center. So that menu that pops up when you press the PS button, you have that bottom layout of options to choose from. You get to I guess you get to rearrange them. I thought you could do that before, but I guess you get to do that even more now. It said that this also improved the functionality of parties and friends lists, and there's actually coming an update for PlayStation Now where you can have a resolution selector, and from what I was looking online, you can choose between 1080p and 720p streaming. So there's that. What are the other stuff that's coming out here? There's a couple other things that are actually going in this update, and I don't have the image now where it actually had the list of stuff, but there's a ton of stuff coming in this update, which rightfully so, because Sony has been very quiet and taking quite a while with their system updates. It's not a monthly rollout. It's not a monthly rollout. It seems like to be every 6 months, 5 to 6 months, whereas there's a substantial console update.
And we're no strangers to them being quiet. We sure know that sounds like Sony.
Yep. I think like once we have like our year in review for PlayStation 5, well, that's definitely gonna be a point of contention for you and me, where their silence is more it's deafening.
Oh yeah,
to say the least. But yeah, I think that's really it in terms of the PS5 update. We got deep dive into that one.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, there's a couple other stuff that goes in with the PS5 update in terms of quality of life features, but we'll learn more as it's released. But I guess let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into the big topic of the week that's been actually for the past 2 weeks, and that is Activision Blizzard and all of the horrible allegations and news that's been coming up and people coming forward with their news. So we really went to the topic last week, I will say, where Gene, our guest Gene from LordsOfGaming.net, Soul, and myself really dove into the topic, kind of get into the nitty gritty of the details, but more info has released that's just really like this. We didn't even hit the boiling point of this whole situation. We really just scraped the top of the iceberg. More information has come out in the past week that to the point where an Activision IT worker actually pleaded guilty to mounting a camera under the sink in the workforce, in the work environment of over there, in a manner to point at the toilet. And he did this in 2018, so 3 years ago, so pretty recent. And then more stuff has come out from IGN. There's been reports, and to the point where I even sent it over to you guys in the DualShock Sense DMs, that even Time Magazine is like reporting on this stuff, where they have their own like timeline of like what's going on with this Activision Blizzard lawsuit and all this like crazy stuff that's going on. And who knows what else has been going on, to the point that it's we don't even know about yet. This is stuff we know about. So I can't imagine stuff that we don't know about. People are just keeping, to themselves. The other point of information that's been brought up as well is the Cosby suites, where I think one of the workers is also in the HR department, which is like insane. This is like, if it really feels like this point where, like, I don't know if you agree with this, Walt, where sometimes HR for a company feels like it's more HR for the company rather than for the workers.
No, as someone.
This feels like exactly that.
As someone that's in, I'm just still in my way to an undergrad on psychology. I've read enough to the point where humans are humans, and just because you have a title doesn't mean you're gonna fulfill your duty as you're supposed to be fulfilling it. So you will have instances where HR will be there to protect the company's interest and not worry about what the workers are actually going through. And this is because it's not only video games. Literally any industry you go to, HR at times it's corrupt as hell, and it doesn't focus on the workers' needs and on the workers' pleas, and it only focuses on company image and what can we do better to silence these things. And unfortunately, I don't know the specifics of how their mentality goes. We can only assume it's shitty as hell, and it is inconsiderate, and it is incredibly disgusting.
Absolutely, that Cosby suite situation is just a whole nother ballgame. I'm sure people listening to this podcast have heard of it, where these group of guys were just looking to get, I guess, women, right? You would assume so. Allegedly, get them into this, get them into this room, and they have alcohol, and they have like extra DMs they're going through saying I think one of the messages like you're gonna get the chicks or something like that. It's pretty damning stuff. And to like me and you talked about this before, where like I feel like the most damning piece about that Cosby Suite story is the fact that we don't know who they were targeting, right? They could have been targeting Blizzard interns. They could have been targeting their own employees. They could have been targeting anybody at the convention, at the BlizzCon convention, or whatever it was.
That's the thing. It's a convention. You're gonna have people from all walks of life, people of all ages. You know, you're gonna have babies walking around, but you're gonna have literally young and old people and young adults. You run the risk, whoever you are. It doesn't, they can say that they're, targeting, or they were looking for, quote unquote, for women allegedly. But dude, you don't know. What if you're unlucky enough where like you turn out to be the victim? I mean, it's the fact that it's a convention. These are quote unquote professionals of the company that is sponsoring, that is the centerpiece of this convention. And you have essentially, I believe it was like the nearby hotel or whatever it was, where they had this suite where allegedly they said that they called it the Cosby Suite because of how his sweater had certain patterns and how the room reminded them of that. Here's the thing, is that true? We don't know. Does it sound like bullshit? Oh, of course it does. We know what the disgusting human being that is Cosby, the accusations, the allegations, and what the truth is there. Look at what these people are doing, allegedly. These people.
That guy did plead guilty to putting cameras in the company bathrooms.
And that's just one. And that's just one of the many. That was how they call it, a boys club in that fucking room. Right. It was a bunch of them. It was a group of them. And like you mentioned, this is what we know. What we don't know and what we'll never find out. That's the thing. Because some shits, they get swept under the rug, unfortunately.
Right.
Some people,
Yeah, so
it's absurd.
Besides the whole, I guess, what we were just talking about before, I wanted to get your clear thoughts on this whole situation, because you haven't had the chance to really tell us, from the beginning when the story broke out. This is a story and a predicament that's reoccurring. This is not the first time we heard of this stuff. And in retaliation, Activision employees were actually hosted a walkout where they were actually protesting against the company and standing up for themselves, really, essentially against the executives. And we actually were seeing that trickle in with Ubisoft as well, because Ubisoft has all these allegations, and they say they've been putting practices into work where they have a safer work environment, stuff like that. But it's been a year, and the people that were at the helm of it all are still in their leadership roles, and some were even promoted. So Ubisoft and some of its employees actually sent a letter to executives saying along the lines that they're following along with Blizzard, Activision Blizzard employees, and they're going to stand up for themselves as well. But with all that said, with all this kind of being boiled over to now, I mean, we know that the story is not going to stop. What's your take on all of this? What are you thinking as far as from the beginning until where we are now?
I mean, something I think if you're a sane human being, this is disgusting of how this is true. These are things that are happening. This is absolutely appalling. It's dreadful. It's awful. My biggest issue with all of this, first of all, the response they gave, it was kind of petty. Like the way they addressed it, it didn't give off the urgency that it should have.
Of course, it was cookie cutter PR, jargon.
Yeah, and this ain't no cookie cutter situation. Has it happened before? Absolutely. Will it keep happening? Unfortunately, it will. Can we do something about it? Absolutely. And the walkout, that's a start. The people confessing, the people coming out with putting people out there, and the whole listen. out these people. Who were they? Like, tell your stories. That what I think is they're doing it. Keep talking about it. Keep talking about what happened. Keep talking about what's happening inside those offices. What happened in the past. What you think is happening. What things that you can prevent even worse scenarios. My biggest thing in this situation is I see people on Twitter, WoW players, all these people that are huge fans of this company. Like, no, as long as the game doesn't get affected. Oh no, but like that has nothing to do with the game's development. Or oh no, like, shut the fuck up. For me, fucking close the damn thing until this is all resolved.
Yeah, like halt development.
Halt everything. Fucking halt everything. No updates, no fucking certain maintenance, whatever you have to halt for this to like actually like move as quickly as possible. Because they need to tackle these, and not quickly in the sense that these people have to get it over with. They need to quickly get these people out of their positions of power that they have, the culprits. They need to get whoever needs to go to trial. They need to get that shit on the way. They can't give them the time of day to get their bearings. Whatever they need to do, no, they need to tackle this now. And that's the thing. I don't halt everything. If you need to halt everything, do it. These are human beings we're talking about. These are people's lives, people's mental health.
Right.
Yeah. It's a situation that merits extreme caution, extreme delicacy in regards to the victims, but full force with the culprits, full force with the actual company. It's a fucking company. What are we defending? Don't defend the fucking company. Defend the workers, the victims, the people that have to put up with this shit. That sadly, you read these stories of how people, they never probably talked about it because they were discouraged about it. They couldn't.
Yeah.
Their voices were invalidated. They were suppressed.
Yeah, we're seeing all those stories come up where just people were like they said they contacted this person and that person, or they're looking to confide in people, and then when push came to shove, those people backed off or learned that they were part of the whole situation themselves.
And here's the big thing, okay? You get oh, I didn't know he was like this. Shut the fuck up. If you're a friend of these culprits, if you're someone that know these people, and are saying that you never knew this about them, what kind of fucking person are you? What kind of friend, quote unquote, are you? That you didn't know, oh, your bro was doing this, that your comrade was doing this, your coworker was doing this. That you're standing with us, you're standing with the allies of this situation. Where was that energy back then?
Yeah.
When you saw those that knew about just the grab to the tangible thing, those that knew about the Cosby shit, and are not involved anymore, and are like, oh, I knew about that, and yeah, now I'll fight. Hypocrite. You're a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you actually kind of brought that up, because the thing is, like, how long have these people known this stuff, and now it's all coming out?
Exactly.
Apparently these things were happening for years, right? And now they're coming up because of whatever the reason. And I think we're both in the same mindset of like, why doesn't anybody say anything? Like, and it goes back to the point of, well, sometimes these people are in a position of power that will silence your voice, and sometimes you were trying to say something, but nothing came up of it. Exactly. Which is possible, and it does happen in the corporate world. That's just unfortunately just how it is, because whoever holds the power does have more of a say in that sense.
Exactly. But again, we see with this situation, there's power in numbers. The whole walkout,
exactly.
All of this, the petitions, the confessions, and you have people with actual for a lack of a better term, with actual status in the media world, joining this movement and giving a platform to these people and talking about it. Because unfortunately, this shit ain't all only with Activision Blizzard. Think about the fucking hundreds of companies that are having this same issue,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't do anything about it because their hands somehow are tied,
Yeah.
because we've somehow normalized that whatever the top brass says, fucking don't question it. No, fuck that. Talk about the shit that's going on. A good example that happened recently with Simone Biles. She stepped down of the individual competition, I believe it was, in gymnastics, because she was worrying about her mental health, and she was focusing on her well-being and on how she wasn't feeling well with herself. And you have people calling her an embarrassment, and oh, you're ashamed to the U.S.
Yep,
or
I
oh,
saw
why
that too. I saw that too.
why
I was
why
it's
why
appalled.
even go to the Olympics if you're feeling like this? Shut the fuck up. What do you know about mental health? Dude, this is real thing. These is real issues.
Man,
These
just
are
she,
real people.
she's been through some shit, man. She's been through some serious shit.
Oh yeah. And if people can talk shit, you try and get to the Olympics and the same renown that she has. Go through the same shit she has. No, people need to walk on in another person's shoes for a day, man. They need at least for a few minutes and acknowledge these are human beings. This isn't the company. It's yeah. And I bet it's easy to de-individualize, like de-individuate the person and take away the humanity of the issue and just paint it with a broad brush and just talk about Activision, just talk about Blizzard, just talk about the company. No, but we don't tackle individuals, huh? Like, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd.
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah, no, it's very very well said. Very well said. It's an ever evolving issue. I feel like it's only more stuff's going to come out, and at this point, I think people are just waiting for change, and whether it happens or not, it's really going to be based on time and people's really I guess their steadfast attitude about things of having change. So yeah.
And if you're a person, whoever it is, if someone's is this apathetic towards people that have gone through these kinds of situations, through this kind of harassment, through this kind of abuse, these people do not deserve the games they have. They do not deserve the mediums they have. They do not deserve anything that involves entertainment, because these are human factors. These are human beings. Like what is there's so much lack of empathy. Like what is wrong with people that it's so easy to look at a screen and you become a warrior in just a few minutes and they fucking go at it and outrage. Oh no, me. No, it's not all you. It's not all you.
Yeah, it's
like it'll keep evolving.
That's the other hard part of this conversation too. Is like, as far as consumers, what do you really do about it? Do you stop buying games? Do you voice your opinion for a little bit, and then like where do you go on? Because it's like I said, it's ever evolving fight. So you gotta keep with it. If you say you're not gonna buy Activision games or Blizzard games, then stand by and don't buy them. But not everybody's gonna do that. Everybody's, it's for them, gaming is a hobby, and that's all it's ever going to be. And who's involved in the process of that doesn't matter to them. So I don't think it's out of the realm to say that they lack empathy in that sense. But for people that are involved and are closely tied to the situation and they still don't care, I think there might be a little bit of what's the word, cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
As far as the situation.
Cognitive, and the thing is, I think the cognitive dissonance is very much on the side that they want to keep playing these games, yet they feel appalled by these situations. It's a very much creator versus art kind of thing, where
right, separate the art from the artist and sign it. Yeah.
Correct, and that's where the cognitive dissonance happens. I really do think that the people that are blatantly and like honestly being this shitty in terms of trying to invalidate these situations, those are the ones that lack the empathy and lack the critical thinking skills that we very much need right now. But And I'm not gonna say that the people that are like, oh, but I like the games, but I support the movement. That's fine. The game is its own thing. My thing is more that if they have to halt it, and for you to understand that, I
Oh,
want
okay,
people
okay,
to
yeah.
understand.
I understand
I
what you
want
mean.
people to understand if they're playing WoW and one day they're like, we're not turning on the service today for like in honor of like these situations. If you're a person that's like, I understand, you're a sane human being. You're a human being that's like pretty uh like put together. If you're someone that goes, no, but that has nothing to do, you're missing the point. You're missing the point if that's what you're thinking.
Right, it's a
You
lot
know?
like it's a lot like the COVID pandemic, right? Where people or like these games companies had to delay the games, or where the case may be, and it's having that empathy of being like, okay, I understand. While I'm disappointed that I will be playing the game on this day, it's fine because you need to work on it, right? It's the same thing here,
Hmm.
where like if they stop doing updates or they're halting service for some time to really fix this internal issue, then why would you fight that? Especially
Exactly.
when it has the potential to make things better for other people.
It's not the falling down, it's the standing up. It's how we react.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
how we process this. And people might think that they don't have any power or any say in this, and hey, you can support it. You can do your own thing. You can just doing a retweet to someone that's sharing their story. That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
actually enough of a contribution. Like, do something. If you don't want to do anything, it's like voting. If you didn't vote, don't fucking give me your opinion, because don't fucking criticize the situation, because you didn't fucking help at all.
All right. Oh,
You
look
know?
who's in the chat. So, what's going on? He finally woke up from his long night over at the strip club. He's in the comments section. What's up, man?
Oh snap,
Oh,
bro! How was
snap.
that?
Yeah, how was that pina colada,
Yeah, man. Sheesh. This man wild.
Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. Um,
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I feel like we touched on that topic of Activision Blizzard. We got your full thoughts on that. Of course, we're gonna know information as it comes out, but man, we have not heard the end of this, have we, Walt?
Unfortunately, I want to say we did, but that'd be me being unrealistic. That'd be unrealistic.
He says, "Shut the hell up."
Man, listen, so listen. Get the hell, get the hell out of
Listen, man, I just gotta know. Did you get a nice little margarita to go with that pina colada? Did you fill a little rum? What's going on, buddy? What's going on? A little too much?
Yeah, man.
Listen,
What
man.
happened?
Hey, man. All I gotta say, just spend the $1 bills. Don't use $5 bills. All right, just $1 bills.
Yeah, or $100 bill. That'll get you somewhere.
You heard it from here, man. Okay, so.
Yeah, lavender.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's lavender, huh? Jeez. Oh, man.
Oh, did she smell of lilac and gooseberries?
Oh, man. All right, cool. So let's jump into
Yeah,
the
man.
next topic, right? I think it'll probably be our last topic for the day, man.
Maybe, man.
It's we have a couple of delays for up and coming
Ooh,
games.
called it.
Something that you called, man. It's something you called. So the first one we'll talk about real quick, it was actually revealed a little earlier in the week, was that Kena Bridge of Spirits, the game that's actually being made by Ember Labs. I believe it's by there's two studio heads, and I think it's their first game. They actually
It
got
is. It's a
delayed
debut.
to September 21st, 2021. It was supposed to come out in late August, and it's coming out September 21st.
Hey, my birthday.
Oh, really? There you go. Happy birthday. Well,
Oh snap! That's a great present.
yeah. So
That's a.
it's kind of odd that they announced it so late. The game's supposed to be out in a month, and we hear some if a big game like this, we'll hear if a game has gone gold, and it was kind of a little worrying that we haven't heard that this game has gone gold yet. But that's because they're actually delaying it for another month, and
The quote unquote polish the game, right?
Right. Yeah. It's more or less
Hey,
just that
man.
there's a smooth launch because they are launching on 3 different platforms: PS4, PS5, and PC. So
Yeah.
it's more or less just to kind of clean it up and really make sure it's as smooth of a release as possible. So
Hey,
what are
man.
your thoughts on Keena's delay, man? Is it to make you disappointed
Honestly,
or what's going on?
dude, whenever it's funny after December, I hear delay and I get happy. I'm just like, good. Take your time. Take your
I'm in the
time.
same boat, to be honest. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, man, and especially with a game like Kina, where we only got that one big, like, like few gameplays, but I at least somehow wanted more to see at least a little bit more. I don't know, like commentary or like something. I don't know. There was something missing, and maybe it was none of that. It was just the fact that it needs some polishing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I'm glad because that game. Listen, if a game like that of what we've seen doesn't come out looking like that, there's going to be some issues because a lot of the game's appeal is the fact that it looks like how we've compared it to like a Pixar movie, this level of quality thing.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a stunner.
I'm
It's definitely a stunner.
absolutely, and I'm all for it, man. Hey, Cyberpunk taught me to appreciate delays.
Yeah. I'm sure.
uh,
I'm sure it made you very humble.
it made me very humble, and it made me realize that I have to know what to pre-order.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get another deep dive look into Kina before it's released. And
Absolutely.
the other big delay, though, that had a lot of people talking and really kind of wondering, it was on the docket to be delayed, as some will say, because Herman Hulse did come out and say that they were tracking to be in 2021. Things were looking good, but if there's a possibility to delay it, then that'll be the case. Now, and I'm not saying that verbatim. He didn't say that, but it's just around the language that a lot of people were kind of getting off of. So we actually got a report from none other than the Lord of Delays himself, Jason Schreier. A lot of people have the joke, and it's a funny kind of long waiting joke that's been going on where no, these studios don't delay the games. Jason Schreier delays the games because he always comes out with the report. He always has like the details, and that's the first one to come up. So on Bloomberg, where he actually works at, he actually sent out a report that coincides with video game reporter Jeff Grubb's rumors that that he was hearing as well, that the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 game Horizon Forbidden West, or some would say Horizon 2, is going to be delayed to 2022. And of course, there's no like confirmed, like if it was Q1 or Q2. We'll leave that to the horse's mouth on that, being PlayStation themselves. But Jason Schreier was standing by and said, like, no, I'm telling you, it's being delayed. That's what I'm getting from my sources, which is not out of the realm of possibility. People were definitely thinking that this was going to be a thing, that it was going to be delayed to early 2022. And as far as my immediate concerns and thoughts on this, it's more or less like I'm not disappointed, because I'm really in that realm of, if you're going to delay a game for the betterment of the game, then absolutely go ahead. There are just how many games that I've played that have been delayed, but the end product themselves were just fantastic. One of them is the game I'm playing right now, Final Fantasy Remake. It got delayed by a month. It was supposed to release in March, got delayed to April, and the game is incredibly polished when it released on PS4.
Absolutely.
So I can't imagine the same for Horizon Forbidden West, where it is going to delay to early 22 for the betterment of the game, and can't really argue against that. So
No, absolutely.
I'm all for it. I think it's going to make 2022 even more appetizing year for gaming. So what do you think about this, Walt? What's your realm? 'Cause I know before we jumped in, you're like, did I call it or did I call it?
I remember when we were talking about the gameplay that was shown in that state of play, and when it was first revealed, I was talking about how we talked about the Gamers of the Year next year, and unconsciously I went like, oh, no, yeah, like maybe Forbidden West or whatever. And I think it was either you or Saul that mentioned like No, man, but I think it's gonna come out this year. No, yeah. Like you guys
I
were
was
pretty.
I was very sure. I was
There was
very sure this
confidence.
game was gonna hit 2022. Yep, or
But
2021
something,
rather.
and I cannot say what, but there was just la espinita. There was that little thing that was like, I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know, like
A little bit of
something.
je ne sais quoi. A little
Yeah,
bit.
like something told me that this. I don't know. It felt. I don't know. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And honestly, I just in my mind I was like, no, it's gonna get delayed. It's like, it's good. Again, this is fantastic. It's even better. It's a game that I'm anticipating even more. Because Horizon Zero Dawn and now the sequel, which is it's looking fantastic from what we've seen in the gameplay and sounding amazing.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, and Aloy looking better than ever, regardless of what dumbasses say. Um, I'm excited, man. I'm glad that this is a thing. I'm glad that it got delayed. And not to say that, I'm glad that we get to not play it. No, if people get mad over like people getting glad over a delay, they're missing the point. Because it's the fact that they get to work on it more. They get to polish it. It's a big game. It's a triple A. Like it's a highly anticipated game. It's probably contender for Game of the Year already because of its scale and the anticipation. Obviously,
Right.
Elden Ring gonna win that. But we don't.
I
We
like
don't know.
I like Rebellion's point in the chat though. Too many delays could also hurt it. I like that you brought that up because that is true.
Correct. Too many. That's right. Too many. But this
Right.
is the
Look,
first one.
we can we can look at Cyberpunk, right?
Yes.
Where that had one too many delays and on top of like having a lot of hype surrounding it, and it ultimately led to the detriment of the game because it led to the developers or at least the executives pushing it out before it was even ready.
Correct. I think.
Yeah, there's a couple other games that I had in mind where like, man, it'll come to me. But there's a game I was literally just thinking of in a situation where like it got too many delays to the point where I just really just stopped caring, and it deflated my
Which,
hype.
by the way, Macho, just a quick thing. That rebellion dude, that's a Boricua brother. That's
Oh, is he now?
Yeah, that's my best friend from Puerto Rico.
Oh, what's up, man?
Jumping in, yeah.
Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
for
pod.
joining us. Yeah. Now get out. No, I'm kidding. Now listen. I think delays can hurt if it's not done properly. And depending on how far the delay is and how many there were, and it's really context. It's a context situation because with Cyberpunk, now we can be like, oh no, yeah, a delay wouldn't have hurt it. But back then, if they delayed it again, they would have probably been like, oh no, a lot of people are going to drop their pre-orders. A lot of people are not going to buy it. A lot of people are going to forget about the game because there's just been too many delays. Honestly, they filled their quota. They made the money they were going to make. Investors were probably happy. The people weren't. But that's the thing, and with delays, I think it's very yeah, like, and that's the thing, right? With this game specifically, like Rebellion said, the biggest hope is the narrative experience, and again, the open world, it's looking to be like gorgeous and in depth with its different like new mechanics and such, but the narrative, here's hoping that the narrative doesn't suffer from it, and I think they have more time to like polish not only the game in terms of visual quality and gameplay, but maybe they can fix some more story related, like maybe that'd be quests or side quests or whatever it is.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into like why a game could be delayed, whether it be sound design, whether it be fixing up some voice lines, or even just gameplay itself. There's a lot that goes into it. But
Absolutely.
I feel like Rebellion makes a really good point by saying that Horizon's narrative is the strongest point. I agree.
Absolutely, I agree.
I agree with that,
And
especially replaying it recently, where like the first,
oh yeah,
I would say third of Horizon is a little slow in the start, and then it really kicks up with the actual narrative. I'm hoping this one's a lot more compact in the sense of, it doesn't take forever for Aloy to be set on her journey and for things to kick off, at a good pace.
I think that with Zero Dawn, we did get that good startup point, and it did take that long because of the nature of the story and
Right?
how
Yeah. Exactly.
they set up Aloy to be both naive yet very she's on the defensive side, and she's very aware of how the outside world is kind of like a wasteland and dangerous as hell, but she's still up for the challenge. And I think that with this game, it'll feel much more, for lack of a better word, more dense and more compact in that sense. And the story, right now, I think Horizon Zero Dawn left it at one of the strongest points of what the story is. Granted, I think the whole thing with Hades, that was interesting, but I'm more interested in Silent's story, the fact that there's people that can tame these creatures now, and where did they get this from, and how are they doing it, and why, and there's a lot of questions, which I think the delay will benefit this, and how you mentioned any voice lines that they need to tinker with, or any refinement, any type of polishing. I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot that goes into this game, so there's a lot of gameplay stuff, and from what we're seeing, from the actual gameplay showcase, this game is going to be ambitious, and it's pulling off a visual fidelity too that seems to push the PlayStation 5 further. Where we saw it with Demon's Souls, we were seeing it with Ratchet and Clank, right? With just all these different enhancements and what the console can do. And Returnal, yeah, absolutely. And then Horizon Forbidden West is definitely going to be that next game, followed by the next big game after that would be God of War. So, if these games are targeting 2022, it's looking very nice for PlayStation 5 gamers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's more to come on Horizon Forbidden West. It's going to be an interesting development process. We'll see, when Sony actually delays it, if they are going to delay it. As of right now, the report is that it's confirming the delay, but again, we haven't heard from the horse's mouth yet whether that's actually a go ahead. But I feel like it's only a matter of time. The other question what were you gonna say?
Because as to the previous point that was made about Jason Schreier, it's funny how it's whatever, he's the Lord of Delays.
He is, yeah.
I remember in the Iron Lords podcast, he mentions, which they had as a guest once. He mentioned how he gets more in-depth scoops at times because of the people he knows and because they have such trust in him. So a lot of these delays or possible rumors or leaks and that he talks about, he only talks about when he's almost 100% sure.
Yeah, he never reports anything he's flimsy about.
Exactly, and that's, say what you want about the guy, but that's respectable, and that's as a journalist, that's something that I think people should strive for in terms of integrity and how you tackle stories. Make sure that, because I get some companies and some video game sites, they'll just want the clicks, the instant clicks, the rumor clicks, and that one time that Kotaku posted, I don't know what the article was, but it was something that we were laughing about in the podcast, that they just immediately deleted.
Oh, that's the Halo Infinite delay. Yeah, they say Halo Infinite got delayed, and it was a fake account that tweeted it.
Yeah, things like that, and I get it, mistakes happen, but it's avoiding that that counts,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
exactly. So the last question I wanted to get before we get out of here is that last week on the DualShock Sense podcast, me, Jay, and Gene actually talked about whether Sony was actually going to have their next big showcase focusing on the rest of the games coming out through the year after Deathloop. Jay believes that Sony kind of set the foundation for what they were going to release, and I brought up the fact that they could still release more because we still haven't heard Call of Duty, we still haven't heard a couple of other games that were in the pipeline. But what's making me kind of second guess that is the fact that Ghostwire Tokyo got delayed out of 2021, and now Horizon Forbidden West got delayed. The thing is, I still think there could be a state of play just because, at least in August, September, just so because of Gene's point that's really sticking on my mind right now, which is they already laid out foundation for the first part of fall, but what about winter and spring to kind of tie people over until those beginning months of 2022? We still don't know what's really in that realm. So if they do have a state of play, whether it be in August or September or something, around that time frame, that's where they can announce the Horizon Forbidden West release date. They can talk more about maybe the next Call of Duty if Activision is still going forward with that, knowing their situation with Blizzard and the internal struggles there. What's your take on it? Do you think they're going to have a state of play at least to end off the year and kind of give everybody's appetites a little more, I guess, something a little along the lines of, to look forward to for the beginning of 2022, or what's the deal with that?
If there's here's the thing, what's smart, what's not smart, what the hell do I know? But what do I think it would be the smart move? I do think that a one final beefy pretty lengthy state of play would do the trick, and that's because of the delays, the situations going on. COVID, it's still a factor. It's still it merits addressing. It merits saying why certain games got delayed and officially stating it, or at least reiterating certain points. I do think I'm leaning more towards yes than no, because a part of me is expecting not one state of play, but maybe two separate, or 2 or 3 separate announcements that are not state of play level, but it is kind of a little showcase. But again, after they started with the state of play, they've pretty much cemented how they're delivering their updates, upcoming games, delays, whatever it is. If they do anything, and here's hoping, if they do it, and I really think they will, around that be maybe if it's September, October, whenever PSX was supposed to be back in the day, maybe around that time, maybe that'll be their new yearly thing where they make just that big state of play during that time. Hopefully that's when the Bloodborne remaster is announced. Hopefully that's when we get that 60 FPS Bloodborne announced.
Man, we'll see. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff they can play around with the state of play and make some announcements. It's a matter if developers are ready to show it, and there's a lot that goes on that plate. And just make a Sony E3. Yeah, man. We'll see. Speaking of Sony E3, there's rumors of a PlayStation Experience coming back, and I think that's valid, especially for how much they should announce.
If they do it Game Awards style, hey, where digital kind of, but they're there and there's a whole thing, and honestly, I'm down for that. I'm down for another PSX, dude. There's some things that I was always anticipating throughout the year, and that was that was more updates, more what do you call it? Whatever the Game Awards was.
Yeah, it's just the Game Awards, right?
No, but that style of announcing, because it's kind of like a hybrid.
Oh yeah, as far as rapid fire announcements, world premieres, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes sense if PlayStation. I don't know how they would do it.
Just the same way. Just the same way as state of play, yeah. Or at least I don't think the events are probably going to come back just yet. Hopefully they actually do. But again, we could talk about more about at the end of the year whether they actually do something like that. It's just a matter of I think as far as a state of play is concerned, I think it is still coming, just so we get more answers on what's going to come out at the beginning of 2022 and a little afterwards. Hopefully it all comes together for Horizon Forbidden West and for Kena as well. I feel like if we see one more trailer, if I just get people hyped up, because we need those marketing beats for that game. That's
absolutely.
Right now, Kena's kind of like a PlayStation icon, even though she's not exclusive to the gaming itself. And the game is also coming on PC. But when people see Kena, they immediately think of PlayStation.
I mean, that's good. That's what you want.
Right.
That's one of the things you want to associate it with PlayStation, and you also want to think, oh, I want to play that game.
Right. Yeah. So.
And then right now, but hey, man, PSX, bring that. Hey, man, I'm all for more conferences, more showcases, more. I just have a blast, man. Every year, I would always await, whether that be E3, PSX, whatever the big conferences were back then, because now it's kind of changed. Now it's like the big things were E3, PSX, and the Game Awards. Now it's kind of like what's gonna be the running thing. What's PlayStation gonna make? You know, is PSX like actually coming back like this year? Is it gonna work out? Will it ever come back? Will it be a permanent thing?
Yeah, they got some stuff to show too. You know, we still have Final Fantasy 16 as well, where the producer, excuse me, slash director, also he said that, you know, we're gonna show it when it's ready. Basically, that's just kind of his attitude about it, and I couldn't agree more. But we also saw reports that they finished, or at least were wrapping up, English vocalization for that and vocals, and then they're gonna do Japanese next. So that game is on its way too. So who knows if we get a new trailer by the end of the year or sometime next year. Regardless, you know, PlayStation has a lot in the pipeline. I think people have a lot to look forward to. It's just a matter of getting some hard dates for some and, you know, updates for others.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think to your question, to make a, you know, the final point, what do I think about the state of play? Definitely, I think they will do it, but I don't know to the how big it'll be and if they'll even address the things that we think they'll address. Hopefully, but
right, that's fair.
Hey,
that's fair. Everything's up in the air because we also have Abandon to think about too, which is, you know, an ever evolving story, and that's who knows where that's coming through. But apparently they're having the reveal beginning of August or something like that. So, or their big trailer or interactive experience, whatever that's going to be. It's very much that's a whole other topic in itself. But, you know, at this point, I think a lot of people are just tired of it. So we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yep.
I think that's it for the podcast, man. Unless you wanted to bring up anything while we're here.
Honestly, the big thing since last week I couldn't show up early, you know, wild night apparently. My big thing was the Activision Blizzard thing, and just get my 2 cents in there, and that was the biggest thing. Since I didn't get to talk about it, finally, like, you know, got to vent a little bit there and like actually talk about the seriousness of that. But no, nothing comes to mind. What about you?
No, that was it. That was it. I think we touched on everything that we wanted to, and I think that's gonna call it for the podcast, man. Like I said, I think we did pretty well for a 2-man podcast.
Yeah, not bad. Hopefully Soul is not, you know, too hungover and he's feeling well.
Yeah, man. Again, have some pancakes, sausages, and bacon. You feel a lot better. I promise you.
Yeah, man.
All the greasy food. I get all the greasy food, all the red meat. You'd be good, man. You'd be good.
Absolutely, man.
So yeah, I mean, let's close it out. Let's close out for our first 2-man podcast. It was fun. I'm glad we decided to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully, all regards to Soul, hopefully he can join us next time. And yeah, man. Absolutely. So let's close it out with our closing remarks, man. What do you got going on? What's going on?
Well, man, I think we at least one thing we have in common is that tonight we beat my Soul of Cinder and my Lothric.
Yes.
We
and
finished
thank you, Rebellion. We appreciate it, man.
And the DLC that's in store. Will that be co-op or not? I'm just excited to hear your thoughts about that. Maybe the next podcast we'll get to talk about our thoughts. My revisited thoughts of Dark Souls 3 next podcast with Soul Around, now that he recently finished it, and your thoughts on it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk about that a lot next week. But aside from that, man, I'm excited to dive into Chrono Trigger. Actually, I'm actually kind of like giddy about it. I'm really excited because for me, it's a brand new JRPG experience, and it's hailed as one of the best games ever made. I'm excited, man, and it's my PS Vita. It's a console that I wish had lasted longer in terms of its support, but I'm excited, man. I'm always down for an excuse to pull out my Vita and play some games. But aside from that, not much going on. More school. I'm almost done with summer classes, so there's that.
Nice.
At least like a week, like 2 more weeks, and I'm done. And then it's off for the new semester. But other than that, not much. What I will say for our listeners and viewers, if you want the latest in the video game and media industry of anything, and even K-pop, they even talk about K-pop.
Where are you going? Where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
Go check out Level 1 Gaming. They're putting in the work.
Oh, okay.
They got the podcast. They got like 3 or 4 different podcasts going on. They're doing it. They're putting in the work. So y'all go check it out.
My man said K-pop, and I was like, what?
Hey man, some people, you know, they're really heavy into it, and their expertise is admirable. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing. What about you, Macho?
Yeah, it's again nothing really much. I'm just gonna keep it chill for this weekend. Just get ready for the work week. We're almost done with moving. Or at least putting the finishing touches on moving, and then eventually have to do everything on the said day and date. But that's coming up, so we're prepping for that. And on top of that, it's mostly just kind of just finishing up these games. I'm playing more Great Ace Attorney. Again, if you guys have not picked up Great Ace Attorney and you're into visual novels and just really court shenanigans, it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Play the first episode and it's fantastic. And then get through Dark Souls 3, dude. I'm excited to get through that DLC. And I agree with Rebellion here. Dark Souls 3 for Game of the Year, dude. It's a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to get through the Ring City and hopefully the Ashes of Arendelle this weekend with you. That'll be a lot of fun. From when I read, these DLCs are pretty short, so
they are.
So we can, knowing us, we'll probably blast through them because I don't know if I actually told you. I finished Dark Souls 3 with 20 hours spent.
20, nice.
Which is not a lot. That's not a lot especially for a From Software game.
Hey man, it's a game that it's like Resident Evil. It encourages New Game Plus and it encourages different playthroughs because the more you play it, the harder it gets, and different builds you can do and all this stuff. But yeah, it's more of at least for me, it was more of the fact all these different playthroughs with different people. In our case, which I think it's first Day Ashes and then Ring City, because Ring City is like the storyline. Like, it's a nice wrap-up to, like, the whole, like, Soul series, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And I'll get to fight and beat maybe the boss that I haven't beaten in all 3 main storylines, which is the actual dragon in that DLC. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, and I think that really calls it for this episode, man. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the DualShock Sense podcast, episode 23. Tune in next week, where we're getting into more to what we're playing and any news that pops up for all the PlayStation latest and greatest. And yeah, man, it was fun. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. So, yeah, look forward to next week. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like. It's greatly appreciated. It'll help us grow the podcast. Share it out to your friends and family.
And subscribe.
Yeah, we're actually trying to hit 50 subscribers before the end of the year, so we can use all the help that we can get. We appreciate every one of you guys.
Or in the words of Soul, we'll take your kneecaps.
And your mom's a hoe.
Yeah, man. So make sure to subscribe and like and join the live chat whenever we're on every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, there you go. All right, man. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.